Do your curls look like this by the end of the day or by day 2? This is the biggest complaint that I hear from you all, and you're not alone. Let's dive into the 10 reasons your curls are not lasting in a step-by-step, super long-lasting routine. My name is Gina, and welcome back to my channel. I make videos all about naturally curly hair. I love helping you problem solve with your curls, which is what we're going to do here today. Our first reason that your curls probably aren't lasting is that your curls don't have enough hold. Hold is that frizz control and that definition. It can be in the form of a cast. Ideally, when you scrunch out that cast once your hair is dried, your hair does not frizz up. That is what I consider a good hold routine. This routine that I'm sharing with you is going to give you enough hold to where you don't even have to refresh on day 2. So the following reasons could be why you're not getting enough hold. And the next one is you're using too much water when you are styling. I prefer to apply my products on damp hair, which is essentially hair that's been towel dried. I wrapped it in my towel after I rinsed out my conditioner, and then I like to mist it with my spray bottle to where it's evenly wet. You don't want to see any frizzy, patchy areas that are starting to dry, but you also don't want it to be dripping, soaking wet. So the more water that is in your hair, the more diluted your gel is going to be, therefore the less hold. So more damp hair, a little bit drier hair is going to give you a lot more hold. I also applied a heat protectant. This is the Curlsmith Miracle Shield. This is usually what I use on my hair first before I apply my styling products because we are going to be diffusing today. I also like to run my fingers through and also brush that heat protectant through to make sure it's evenly distributed. Plus, when your hair is nice and smoothed out and snag free, it's going to help you section and style better and also get your products on better. Our third reason why you're not getting enough hold and your hair is not lasting is you might be using too much cream or leave-in underneath your gel or your mousse. I'm using just a small amount of the AG Curl Fresh Definer today. I went with this one because it's a little bit more lightweight compared to their recoil. This is also the new reformulated version. I really like this curl cream. It gives a similar effect to their recoil cream, which I love. It has a little bit less proteins in it, so this one could be good if you do have some coarse areas like I do. So I'm just applying this all throughout my hair, and then again, making sure that that is evenly distributed. We don't want patches of clumps of curl cream because that's definitely going to soften our hold. In the stronger hold routine on the right, I use just about a dime size amount, maybe a little bit less. Whereas on the soft hold routine, I used a lot of the curl cream because that's the only styler that I'm using for that routine. If you're seeing like a white residue on your hair, if you can see that product or if it's dripping, then you definitely have too much water and too much product in your hair that's just diluting your gel. Again, the more water and the more conditioning ingredients that are on your hair underneath your gel is going to soften your hold. That also includes your rinse out conditioner. So if you're using a heavy conditioner or a deep conditioner and you're not fully rinsing it out, that can also lead to your gel not giving you a cast. And if you're still not getting a gel cast, skip the leave-ins and curl creams and go straight to your gel. You can just use a gel as long as it's a little bit moisturizing and not drying. I do that a lot of times and it's totally fine. You could even skip using conditioner and just use a lightweight spray leave-in and then go straight to your gel. Then I'm sectioning my hair and I'm going to apply my gel in sections. This is going to give you so much more coverage and a lot more hold in your hair. I'm using the Ouidad Advanced Climate Control Stronger Hold Gel, which is one of my favorite gels because it gives you that hold without a hard cast. Once I scrunch out the gel cast, I still have hold in my hair that lasts for days. I also really like the AG Liquid Effect, so that will pair really nicely as well with the AG Curl Fresh Definer. So if you have that one, you can totally use that. I just get slightly more long-lasting hold with the Ouidad. Very slight though, they're very similar. I actually did a video comparing both of them side by side. Which brings me to our next reason that you're not getting long-lasting curls, and that is you're not using a gel at all, or you're not using a gel that provides long-lasting hold. In the soft hold routine, I only use that Curl Fresh curl cream. I did not use a gel, which is why I'm just showing you the routine for hold with using a gel right now. As I mentioned, you want a gel that's going to give you that hold and that frizz control even after you scrunch out the cast after it dries. This is very hard to find, but this Ouidad gel and the AG gel that I mentioned actually do that for you. I can also list some other similar gels that also do provide that long-lasting hold for me on the blog post that goes with this video. That will be linked down below. But you want to look for a gel that has multiple different polyquat ingredients. This is a type of ingredient. It's called polyquaternium. Look for it on the label. Look look for it towards the top of the ingredients list, and ideally there are multiple. The Ouidad gel has like 4 polyquat ingredients, and that's why I think it gives such long-lasting hold. I'm just doing some brush styling with my bounce curl brush, which we will talk about in just a minute, but our next reason for not getting long-lasting curls is you're not using anti-humidity products if you live in a humid environment. The environment plays such a big role in our hair's longevity, especially if you live somewhere where it's very humid. Even if you live somewhere where it's very dry, your hair might be drying out throughout the week. But in terms of humidity, I know we're going into spring and summer. I live in a very humid environment. That's why I went with this Ouidad gel. Those polyquaternium ingredients are going to help block the humidity from absorbing into your hair. They're also conditioning it. They're gonna help create a film on the hair that's sort of like a waterproofing barrier. Not completely waterproofing. Unfortunately, we can't completely waterproof our curls, but it definitely does help. I also wanted to note the amount that I'm using. I'm pretty heavy-handed when it comes to this gel, and I find that that gives me the best hold and coverage. I usually go by the feeling in my hair, and I will apply more gel as I go throughout a section. So usually the amount that you see me first start with on each section is not the complete amount. I usually am going in for additional pumps like I just did in order to get those baby hairs very close to the root. I make sure that I evenly coat every strand with the gel, and applying it before I brush style really helps to make sure I get that even coverage, and that's just for maximum frizz control. Now, if you want more volume and you're not as worried about frizz, you can totally just scrunch a little bit of gel in after you brush style, but that's not going to give you as much coverage. So the reason that I'm brush styling is because skipping any styling techniques is one of the biggest causes of your curls flopping and not lasting it throughout the day. So in the soft hold routine on the left, I didn't really do any styling techniques at all. I really just raked in the product and then scrunched. And I did spend a little bit of time scrunching, which technically is a styling technique, but it doesn't do that much for your curls unless if your curls are just naturally in really great shape and they don't need any enhancing, then that's great. But a lot of us do need a little bit of help with our curls and encouraging the curls with different techniques. So on the right routine for the strong hold side, I am doing brush styling and finger coiling. So finger coiling is just where you wrap strands of hair around your finger and kind of twirl it. This helps to encourage the curl to take the right direction. But I usually just will do this in problem areas, which for me is right around my face. And this helps them go in the right direction. Otherwise, they just have a mind of their own and look very frizzy and kind of wonky in this area. And then brush styling is the other styling technique. That's what I usually do for most of my head because it's very quick. I can do an entire section all at once. And the bounce curl brush is nice because it does separate the curl clumps as you are styling. So it's clumping them and separating them because it does have those ridges and those grooves on them. The bounce curl brush also really helps to smooth any frizz. Any brush will do, but if you're using a brush that does apply some tension like this, it's really gonna help smooth out frizz. My hair is very frizzy naturally, so I do need that help to kind of smooth it out. It's really difficult to smooth out frizz in my hair with just my hands. So on the left, I'm kind of struggling because I'm seeing a lot of frizz, but I was trying to not do any styling techniques on that side. So I was just kind of scrunching and then trying to just smooth them out with my hand, but it wasn't really working. As soon as I scrunched, the frizz would just come right back. Styling techniques really do help to clump the curls and keep that frizz tucked away into curl clumps. So this step is totally optional, but I actually did add in the Curlsmith Root Boosting Volumizing Spray. This is one of their products from the new volume recipe, and I really wanted to try it out with some of my other products to see if I could get just a little bit more volume at the root, because anytime I'm doing a routine that gives a lot of definition and frizz control, like with the Ouidad gel, it will sometimes reduce volume because you have so much of that frizz control. So I am just spraying this at the roots and kind of shaking out the roots gently with my hands. You can also spray some into your palms as well if you don't like spraying it directly onto your scalp. This is just a little bonus tip. You can scrunch it with a hair towel if you want to really enhance the curls and also soak up any excess water. So I'm just using my hair repair towel and going around and scrunching up my hair with that. You want to be very gentle though. I also like to pinch my roots with my other hand just to kind of lift it up and away from the scalp, and that will create a lot more root definition and root volume as well. Also, if you're someone who has to style with your hair soaking wet, you'll definitely want to do this micro plopping step, and then you can apply a little bit more gel after if you want to to increase your hold. But even though I damp style and I don't style soaking wet, I do still like to go in with an extra layer of gel. This will really add a ton of hold to your hair. So if you're really struggling with getting a gel cast, try going in with another layer of gel on top of hair that has already been scrunched with a towel. Just that layering technique can really make a difference in your hold level. Before we get into the diffusing on the right side routine, on the left, I wanted to just show you how much more frizz that I have in my hair. A ton of root frizz. The curls are definitely not as defined. I'm actually going to be air drying and the soft hold routine because air drying results in less hold for me. So just to give you an example, I do still want to try with this routine. So I am going to add some root clips. These are the new root clips from Bounce Curl. You can use these at your roots if you're air drying to add more lift, or you can even use them when you diffuse at the end of your routine for extra volume. While I spend 4 hours air drying on the soft hold routine, let's diffuse on the strong hold routine. So diffusing is one of the biggest reasons that my curls last past day one. So if you are only air drying and you've never tried diffusing and your curls don't hold up, it's likely from air drying. Diffusing helps to set the gel cast into place, especially when you're using a gel. It will help to set that curl shape because the heat will actually set the hydrogen bonds in our hair, which will help it shrink up and stay into that position. Essentially, however your hair is when it's in the drying process is how it's going to stay. So when you're using the diffuser to scrunch the hair up towards your scalp, it's going to dry in a tighter position. Now, if you do want to achieve more elongation, you can also do that with diffusing. You basically just wouldn't scrunch your hair at all. You would just kind of hover diffuse, and you can achieve that look as well with diffusing. But that warm heat, it's gentle heat, it's not going to damage your hair. It is going to help your curls last a lot longer. And it's going to help prevent frizz during the drying process as long as you have a gel in your hair. If you always seem to get frizz when you are diffusing, it's likely because your gel is not strong enough hold, or perhaps you're not using the right diffusing techniques. This is my Curlsmith Defrizzion hair dryer. It definitely makes diffusing so much faster for me because of the large diffuser head. I can usually diffuse in about 10 to 12 minutes, maybe 15 max. It just depends on how wet my hair is, and that really helps save me time because with air drying, my hair is not done until hours on end. Like it will take several hours for my hair to dry, and then it's not finished, so I have to walk around with the casts in my hair for hours. I also love using the prongs of the diffuser to really lift the roots. Sometimes I will flip my hair from side to side, and then I will also use the prongs directly at my scalp to then lift and hold, and that gives so much root lift. When my hair is still a little bit warm, I love putting in some root clips. Again, these are those Bounce Curl clips that just launched, and I'm just placing them around my part area. I'm really liking these because they do give a lot more grip compared to other clips that I've tried in the past. They have more prongs on the inner layers, so they really do grip all of the hair and pull it together. I just finish off diffusing with them still in, and then I will usually let my hair sit while it finishes setting before I scrunch out my cast. A bonus tip is you can leave the cast in your hair if you're going to be going to bed, maybe you're washing and styling at night, or even if you're going to be traveling and you want your curls to last a long time, or maybe you're going out in very humid air, or maybe it's very windy, leave that cast in as long as possible because that's really going to protect your curls, retain that shape, and prevent frizz. Now, obviously, we don't love going out with crunchy curls, but if you're just gonna be, traveling on a plane or something, totally fine. Or if you're gonna be out in the humid air, it is good to leave the cast in, and it will gradually release throughout the day. Before we scrunch out the cast, I wanted to show you how my hair looks on the soft hold routine after it's finished air drying. So the cast did form from just the curl cream. I got a very light hold cast. It's not super crunchy. It's just a little bit of a cast in there from that cream. So AG Curl Fresh by itself does provide a little bit of a cast, but I do have a ton of frizz, especially on the inner layers, and that's from not sectioning and not styling. I get a lot of webbed frizz on the inside layers when I don't style my hair. Our next reason your curls aren't lasting is you might be using an oil to scrunch out the crunch. So many people use oils at the end of their routine, and they are great at locking in moisture, and they can really soften your hair and add shine, but you might want to try skipping that oil and just using nothing to scrunch out the cast, just dry hands. So on the left soft hold routine, I use the Bounce Curl oil to scrunch out the cast, and then on the strong hold routine on the right, I didn't have anything on my hands, they were just dry. When I do use an oil, my hair gets very soft because oils are very softening, but if you're trying to retain some longer lasting hold, then maybe you don't want to overly soften your hair, especially if you're someone who has very fine hair that gets weighed down easily. Maybe your hair is overly soft and you struggle with very soft hair on day 2. try using a hairspray instead of an oil after you finish scrunching out the crunch, which is actually what I wanted to do for my stronghold routine. So this step is totally optional, but for the stronghold routine, I decided to try adding in a hairspray. So this is the new Bouclème hairspray. This just launched. This is my first time trying it out, but it seems to work pretty well. I just misted a light veil of it over the surface, kind of focusing it on the root area where I tend to get a lot of flyaways. It did help to tame the frizz, which was great, and I definitely can tell it's going to give a little bit of texture and grit to the hair. I just finished off setting that with the diffuser so I could really tell, but if you're someone that struggles with overly soft hair, definitely try a hairspray. So here are the results from both routines. This is day one, soft hold versus strong hold. You can definitely tell in the soft hold routine, there's much more frizz up close. It's more elongated and not quite as defined. Whereas on the strong hold side, you see much more shrinkage, more definition, and a lot more frizz control. But stay tuned because we're going to be comparing the day 2 and day 3 results from both of these routines, which is the true test. I thought I'd come outside to show you my day 2 results. This is with little to no refreshing. I do still have a light cast in my hair, but it's nothing crunchy. I usually like my day 2 results the best after using the Ouidad gel because it really softens up and you get so much more volume and you have lots of like soft definition where the hair gets softer, but you still have really great hold and definition. Now day 2 after doing the wrong side of the routine, and I wanted to show you how my hair does not hold up when I don't do my usual styling techniques and using gel and I don't diffuse. This is why I don't usually do that routine because my hair is so much frizzier. It's definitely more elongated, more stretched out, but the main thing is the frizz. It also is much drier because my hair is a little bit more high porosity and it usually needs a gel to help kind of lock in that moisture and keep the curls defined. So it definitely feels a lot drier without having a gel. It's now day 3 and I wanted to come outside to show you guys how my hair is looking. I have not refreshed my hair at all. I haven't added any water today. The only thing I did was I separated a few curl clumps and sort of finger twirled with dry hands. That is one way that you can sort of refresh. Well, it's not even really a refresh because you're not adding anything, but you can kind of separate some curls with your fingers and the hair will kind of group back together with the Ouidad gel, which is really nice. But I definitely feel like I have a little bit more frizz than usual. Maybe it's just the whole combination of products, or maybe because it is actually pretty dry outside. It still looks really good. Like I could definitely refresh this. I just don't feel the need to since I'm going to be staying home today. It's now day 3 and this is my final update on this routine. This is definitely much different than how my day 3 hair looks like when I do my actual routine. My hair has become very dry. It definitely needs some moisture. It's become very dull because it doesn't have that gel in it to help lock in the moisture. And it's also just very frizzy compared to the way that it normally is. Now, as I mentioned, not to say this is bad if this is your preference, it's just not my hair's full potential for day 3. Normally I can get much more days out of my hair. It stays much more defined and it also maintains much more like curl clumping and also volume as well. It's just very flat. The curls have fallen straight. Also, I noticed that my hair gets stretched out so much easier when I don't actually style it and when I don't use a gel. Like if I put it up in a ponytail or use any scrunchie in it, it will definitely get stretched and dented, and my bonnet also falls off because there's not as much of that texture holding the bonnet on, like it kept slipping off. If you're not protecting your curls at night, then you can't really expect them to last longer than a day. You don't want to be doing a bunch of refreshing. You don't want to have to restyle and soak your hair down with a bunch of water on next day hair when your curls are getting ruined overnight. So to prevent that, you want to sleep on some sort of silk or satin material. You don't want to be sleeping on regular cotton pillowcases because that creates so much friction and frizz against our curls, which are very fragile. So any type of satin or silk pillowcase will do. I just have on the Curlsmith satin pillowcase right now. Also, sleeping with my hair up in a bonnet is also key. But this is an adjustable bonnet from Amazon. I like this one because you can adjust the band so you can make it tighter. So if your bonnet's falling off, the rim is actually really comfortable. You want to make sure that you have the right size bonnet because if it's too big, then your hair is not going to be protected and it's not going to stay up. And if it's too small, your hair kind of gets smushed in the inside. So I flip my hair over to where all of it is forward. And then I take the bonnet and I put my hands on the inside like this and I hook the back of it along the back of my neck. So once it's hooked right there, then I kind of pull it down. You want to make sure your bonnet is stretchy so that way it will actually stretch down the length of your hair. Then I'm going to take my other hand and just press the hair up And then I do like to roll the rim around once because I find that it just fits my hair's density better. So I just rolled it around once so that way this part is a little bit tighter because you want your hair to stay up on top of your head like this. So it's almost like my hair is up in a plop right now. It's up on top of my head. It's not like drooping and falling down underneath. Like my hair is not really down here other than like the lower section, and it's all tucked away in the bonnet so it's nice and protected. This is what I wear every single night. I will link this one for you down below. Our 10th reason why your curls probably aren't lasting is probably one of the most important, and that is your hair is higher porosity or it's damaged and it's not quite as healthy as it can be yet. The higher porosity your hair is, the more likely it's going to have the moisture evaporate and the products evaporate throughout the day and throughout the week in between your washes, and it's also more susceptible to the changes in the environment. This will definitely make your curls not last as long if they are more porous. So what you can do to improve your hair's porosity is use proteins in your routine. They help to kind of condition the hair and coat the hair with a film that helps to fill in the gaps and the holes in our hair's cuticle to help prevent that moisture loss. And then you can also use bond repair treatments, which actually work deep within the hair's inner layers at a molecular level to actually repair damage. Now, the only main fix for damage is to actually get it cut off, but bond repair treatments can definitely help you get there quicker as long as you're using them consistently and you're still getting trims, or you could even do a big chop if you're brave enough to get all of the damage cut off, but you're definitely going to have to grow your hair back out if it is very damaged. Some people just have higher porosity hair as well. That's definitely the case for me. My hair definitely acts more high porosity, even though it's healthy. It really doesn't make sense to me. But one thing that you can do is really look for products that have those sealing ingredients to help lock moisture in and also prevent your hair from absorbing moisture or just becoming very dry in dry weather. So you can look for things like those polyquat ingredients that really help in humidity. You can look for sealing oils. Film forming humectants are another one that really help to just coat the hair and prevent the hair from losing its moisture, and it will last a lot longer. And as your hair's health changes, you will notice such a difference in how long your hair lasts. My hair was awful when it was still transitioning and I had highlights and bleach damage. It never really lasted by the end of the day. Heck, it was even like frizzy after a couple hours after styling because it's like I didn't even put any product in because it seemed to just evaporate right out, but it definitely got a lot better. That was probably the biggest thing I noticed when my hair health improved, is how long that my results lasted and I could get more longevity out of my curly hair routines. If you're still struggling with not getting a cast, or if you cannot figure out why your hair doesn't have hold, I recommend checking out the curly hair tracker and planner that I recently launched, because it allows you to track everything that you did in your routine, and you can look back and kind of analyze those results over time and see that every single time I styled with my hair soaking wet. And on those wash days, I noted that I didn't have any hold in my hair. So that's something that you could identify. It really allows you to identify those patterns, which is why I created it, because curly hair is really like a science experiment. And if you change just one thing, it can really make a difference. And this allows you to track those little changes that you make. So I will have it linked down below if you want to check it out. And if you feel like it's definitely your gel that is the reason you're not getting a cast, check out the video that I did not too long ago all about the signs you're using the wrong gel. I basically break down everything that you could notice in your hair if it's the gel that's the problem. So whether if your hair is sticky and weighed down, or it's not giving you a cast, or maybe you have too much of a cast that you can't scrunch out, I basically help you diagnose all of your gel problems in that video and give you lots more recommendations on some of my favorite gels. So I will have that video linked right here on the screen, and I will talk to you over there. Bye everyone.